So today, guys, we had a ton of news come out from the official dev live stream that they did earlier today. And here are some of the biggest highlights from Year 8 Season 1 dev live stream. My name is Nothing But Skills. Let's enjoy.
Rise Up is all about a new challenge. It's a whole new level of challenge, and we'll get to that. It is a very, in a way, endgame focused, hardcore focused season, which is going to be interesting coming from realism mode and all of that. This time we are actually diving very deep into RPG mechanics for this season.
All right, so let's start with the seasonal modifiers, because I feel that they are the core mechanics of every season, and this season we are going deep with the RPG combinations and variants. I'm super excited to see how much fun our hardcore players will have with those seasonal modifiers, because they are super customizable, and I feel that this is a very fun part of this season as well, right?
Let's talk about this season modifier. So this season, the global modifier is called recombinant. And the idea of this recombinant season is, in a gist, look at those values. You're going to get stacks or modules, how we call that. You're going to get stack in 3 different modules. You have offense, defense, and utility. At the beginning of the season, it's going to be 10 in each one of them. Each of those stacks will contribute to a bonus, a passive bonus that applies to your agent. And they all start equal, as I said, 10 in each. They're not changing from gameplay, so they're always going to be at 10. What's going to change them is here, and that's your passive modifiers. So basically what happens is, by applying passive modifiers, you're going to be changing the values of those stacks. Sometimes you're going to be adding, sometimes you're going to be removing, sometimes you're going to be removing from one, adding to the next. There's a lot of different things in here, and also there is a lot of passives.
So a lot of passives. I think we have 34 this season,
yes.
Right? It's a lot of them for people to try out, but it's not only about trying them out individually, right?
No. So if you look at this, for example, here, I've removed all of them, so now I will have 20. So why do I have 20? Well, because I gain extra stacks because of the progression of my active modifiers. We'll get back to that. That's part of the seasonal progression. So at the beginning of the season, you'll have 10 in each. At the end of the season, or when you're done with your season journey and your active progression, you will be at 20 in each. But then, when you go in your passives, so passives are organized in offense, defense, utility, and wildcards. I'll get back to that. So when you look at your passives, for example, look at this one, amplify, increase offense stacks by 5. So pretty straightforward. I equip that one, and now I have 25 offense stacks. And you see my weapon handling value goes from 20% to 25%. Pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a bunch of different ones. I'm not going to go through all of them, but this one, for example, increase offense stacks, god damn it, by 10, but decrease defense and utility by 5. So you can see this, how this is going to go. Every single one of those has different ways of changing your stacks, and once again, the stacks are passively modifying your values. So you can mix and match them whichever way you want. I'm going to do some random stuff here just for fun. Now I have 20, 30, and 15. Okay, cool. You can mix and match them. Now, there's 2 things that you need to know. One, the order in which you equip your passive modifiers matters. So if you have one that adds and then one that multiplies, that's going to lead to a different value than if you do the multiply first and the add second, for example. Plenty of combinations. And then the second thing is, deep down here, we have the wildcard ones. And those are the ones that completely flip the whole thing over and completely change the way your modifiers will, or your passives will work and your stats will work. So basically, for example, all module stacks become equal to the middle value stack if the middle value is equal to. So anyway, all of that, this, for example, here, I went back to 20. So obviously that...
You need to equip in different modules. You're just equipping on the first one.
I'm equipping on the first one.
Yeah, that's the reason.
So if I go back to what I was doing here,
yes.
Let's do that. And I had this one, I think. So yeah, 35, 15, 15. So obviously putting the last one here is not going to be a good idea. I don't know all the passives, so don't ask me to demonstrate a good combination here. I don't have them in mind. If I put this one, that's probably a bad idea because they will all be equal to the middle value, which here would mean probably lowering this one. So anyway, the point is play around with all those passives and you can get some pretty insane values here by just finding out how to combine all those things.
Yeah, someone in chat say, "Hey Yannick, please go slow because I'm taking notes." This is all gonna be available through the patch notes that will be shared with you most likely tomorrow. The PTS starts on Friday, so tomorrow you have the preload, and Friday you have the PTS build for you to test and play around. If I'm not mistaken, all the passive modifiers will be unlocked since the beginning, so you'll be able to play around, and that's very important to experiment, because with 34 and you can change the order, and the order matters. You have a lot of different outcomes you can get from this, and therefore we need a lot of feedback from different specific combinations. Maybe you're gonna find something that is super strong and we haven't seen yet.
Because I have 60 now, but that no longer affects stats. So the offense stacks now at 60, but I no longer get a bonus from that. And why is that? Well, that actually plays into the active modifiers.
Yep.
So
the active,
yes, you have 3, and obviously you have one that is more offense-minded, one defense-minded, one utility-minded. They each have an effect, those actives, and that effect will scale with your stacks. So, for example, now, as you've seen, I put 60 in offensive stack. That offense stack no longer has a passive bonus, but therefore it's going to increase my active modifier because here it's 10 meter base plus 0.5 meter per offensive stack, so plus 30 meters in my case here. So it's a very, the whole point is that it's a super flexible system, and you can really build it in many, many ways. I think some people did the math in the team, and I can't remember what was the number. There's over 30,000 or 50,000 combinations possible of modifiers with this season. Now, mind you, not all of them are good. There's going to be bad combinations, but there's going to be some really good ones.
Yes, and for the first time in this season, you're not going to get the modifiers through your seasonal journey. Actually, you're going to get a currency, coins. I don't know. I don't remember exactly the name that we gave to them, but you will be able to buy the passive modifiers you want. So you're not locked behind like any specific mission. You can just go there and unlock. Can
I show that here? I mean, we have all of them now, but this is basically where this will happen. We've added this laptop for this season. You see, it's called. It has the name of this the modifier, and from here you will be able to. Now we have all of them, but this is where you will be able to buy your passives. So this season, instead of unlocking passives, you will get a currency, and then you get to pick which passives in which order you wanna buy.
Exactly. So it's called BTSU firmware. So yeah.
Can you buy the coins? No, you can't buy the coins. We are not that kind of game.
You get as reward through your seasonal journey. So that's the modifiers of the season. Please have fun, enjoy, try to create as much as you can different combinations of how you can play with those passive modifiers and see if you can have like very strong builds and very strong combinations. So with that said, we didn't mention the hostile countermeasures, the modifiers from the hostile.
Let's look at them. Yeah, right, sorry, I was confused. So hostiles. So the hostile modifiers will actually be impacting your passives, and so when you're getting hit by those modifiers, this may deactivate some of the passives you have. This may lower the stacks you have. So you're going to have to pay attention to those hostile icons. And when you get affected by one, this will show in your UI. So yeah, in general, without going in details here, you see, for example, eliminating this enemy with anything except a headshot disables one of your passive modifiers chosen randomly. Eliminating 3 enemies or leaving combat removes the effect. So you have to kill them with headshots, for example, the ones that have this icon. Otherwise, you're going to be disabling your passives. Yeah. So you build those passives, you combine them in whichever you want, you get all those stacks, you get those super powerful bonuses, but then this will change dynamically during combat based on the hostile modifier. So you will have to prioritize the targets based on what you see, what icons you see above their heads.
All right, so now we've gone through the seasonal modifiers, we know how they work, and something very important that we're bringing to the season, we are going to talk about gear later, but something very important that we're talking is the Black Tusk Challenge, right? And there is a feature that will represent everything that we're talking about, the Black Tusk. So if you could open your map, I feel that people will understand what we're talking about.
Well, I'm going to go a couple tabs here, and I'm going to go to Retaliation, because for this season, and
you're big. If we can reduce your size on screen.
Oh yeah, I'm just at the wrong place. Thank you. So with this season, and not just for the season, this will stay, by the way. This is a permanent addition, but yes, the Black Tusk will now retaliate in the world as well. So this is going to work in a similar way. When you're defeating Black Tusk, you're going to be building agitation meter. You're also building Black Tusk agitation by defeating other factions, so it's a bit of a wildcard faction. But yes, there will be Black Tusk retaliation. They will take over name zones. They will take over control points in those name zones. So that's a whole new ingredient that we're adding to the retaliation system. And once again, this will stay in the game. There's a bunch of quality of life improvements that we are doing to the system as well. I think we'll get to that. And also, as part of this season only, when you get kill squads from a Black Tusk retaliation, you have a chance to actually not get a normal kill squad, but an elite kill squad. And this one is one that's been designed specifically for this season. It is stronger, tougher, and has better rewards than the regular kill squad.
Yeah, it's the BTSU Team 9, and you're going to be able to get for example, their outfit through the seasonal pass, but they're supposed to be very strong, and they have some pretty good rewards. Do you want to talk about those?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was reading chat.
So
should I say yes?
You can say yes, but we can go through the quality of life improvements as well, because one of the things that we have here is the fact that we have a number 2 inside the circle, right? So that's a new thing.
Yeah. So one of the ideas, one of the things we wanted to add to Retaliation is the ability to play them back to back, because sometimes building the agitation meter, then you have to do the retaliation, then build the meter again, do the retaliation. If that's what you want to do, we wanted to make sure that you have a chance to actually play them back to back. So one thing we've added is this mechanic. That's I forgot how we call it.
Agitation overclock.
Overclock. It's the overclock mechanic. So basically what that means is you can fill the bar not once, not twice, but 3 times. So when it's filled once, you can trigger a retaliation as usual. But if you want, you can keep filling the bar a second time and a third time. And therefore, that will allow you to play as many retaliation back to back as the bar was filled. So if you have 3 of them, you play one retaliation. When that one is over, you can immediately jump into the next retaliation. You don't have to refill the bar again.
And it's not the same name zone, so you're going to go from one name zone to the other.
Yeah.
One thing that is very important about this is that combined with the other quality of life feature that I'm going to talk now, we are giving the players more control when they can play, when they want to play retaliation, right? Yeah. Because now when the trigger, when the clocker, the agitation meter fills, you don't need to immediately play. You can save for later. And another feature that we're bringing to this season is changing how the timer for retaliation works, right? So more important, how does it work? Now we are seeing that 3 hours and 51 minutes. Right now, as you guys are playing, if you go back in 4 hours, that name zone would be taken by Black Tusk. But that's not actually what's going to happen on Season 1.
No, so now that timer is actually your in-game time. And what that means is if you log off and you come back in 2 hours, you will find the timer exactly at the time where you left it. So that means you're no longer losing that timer by not playing the game. The timer just only reflects how long you've actually been logged into the game.
So yeah, now you have a more realistic timer compared to your actual gameplay. Something very important that you guys may notice based on how it works is that if the Black Tusk take a name zone, they will have the ownership of control points. That's something new as well that we're adding this season. They're not going to do activities or different activities like resource convoys that I had from other factions. They're just taking care of those control points. So now this is also a new feature that we have by consequence of having retaliation for Black Tusk, right?
Yes.
And there's another part that is super
one thing I just wanted to mention quickly, because just to be very clear, the overclock mechanic, that's for all factions, right? That's not just Black Tusk. So we are showing it here on Black Tusk, but all factions can have an overclock.
You can see the number 0 inside all the faction circles. Another quality of life that we're bringing, and I feel that this is a big one because we've got a lot of feedback about this, is about matchmake. So yay, now you can matchmake retaliation. You can see that.
It's beautifully placed in that menu. You can't miss it, but yes, you can now queue for Retaliation only.
Yeah, that's a big one that we noticed that players would appreciate. Do you want to? The question that I made before, I feel that also this is gonna create some conversations. There is about the rewards you can get from the Elite Kill Squad.
Yes, so there's a whole set of exotics that you can get, and exotic blueprints that you can get from the Black Tusk. And one thing that we're bringing is some of the exclusive exotics that are available in other places. You will be able to get them by getting the Elite Kill Squad. So that means some of the raid exotics, for example, and other ones will be available for this season. At a very low chance, but still you can actually get them by defeating the Elite Kill Squad of the Black Tusk.
So you need to first play Retaliation against Black Tusk Retaliation. You need to have the chance, the luck of facing the Elite Kill Squad, and then you have a drop raid that is also going to be implemented on that, and then you have to craft those blueprints. So this is exclusive for this season, Rise Up. So you go there as soon as it's on. You have the chance to farm those long-awaited exotics that I know that a lot of you have been asking for.
Yeah, and I see, and I know that some people will react and say, well, what's the point of raids now if the exclusives are no longer exclusive? And yeah, it's not the first time we're bringing those exclusives in other places. And I understand your feeling, absolutely. I think, the point is that it's still a much more predictable way of getting those. But that being said, yes, we know. And we are looking at ways of bringing new fresh exclusive rewards or a new sense of exclusivity to those pieces of content. So I know we're diluting those rewards in other places, but don't worry, for raid lovers, hopefully we'll have good news.
All right, so we're done with Black Tusk Retaliation, and now comes the fun part, or I believe the new fun part, right? Should we go to? Yes. I think we should go to that direction.
Should we go to inventory? Which one do you want to go for?
I don't know. I don't know which one would be better.
Okay, well, actually, I'm going to start here. So
I feel that we can show this, and then we show the inventory, and then we go
look at this. There's a new thing here. And what you're going to find here is a new feature, a completely new feature, that is called Escalation. And what Escalation is, it's a new layer of difficulty and challenge that is added to the main missions of the game. So when you're going to go in this menu, I don't know, let's see what we can see. So there will be a rotation that is on, I don't know how many, actually I don't know if it's every week or every X amount of days, but anyway, where some missions will be selected and those missions will be available for Escalation. Escalation comes in tiers. It goes from tier 0 to tier 9, I believe. And each of those tiers makes the experience more challenging. So it starts, tier 0 is the equivalent of heroic difficulty, and then it goes beyond that. So every tier will make the NPCs deal more damage, have more health, have more armor, as you can see in this screen. But not only. At specific tiers, we're also going to be unlocking what we call mutators, which are bespoke modifiers to those enemies. So it's not just a question of scaling, it's also a question of gameplay affecting changes. So the enemies will have special gameplay twists applied to them at specific tiers. So this is going to, bring a whole new level of challenge for those of you that have way exceeded heroic difficulty, or even incursion or raids or legendary difficulty. This is going to add some granularity, but also a whole new layer of challenge that hopefully is going to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, no, I saw someone already asking, and that's it. So tier 0 of Escalation is right now heroic, and you have 10 tiers above that. So we're not bringing an extra tier after legendary. Actually, we're bringing 10 tiers on top of heroic.
Yeah. And maybe just to show you just a bit more how that works, because there's actually a bit more to this.
Maybe you can check the gear before joining.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna play. I just want to
Okay,
show.
okay.
Just want to show how it works. But when you look at this mission, so this is the way Escalation works. So from the menu in the White House, I was able to fast travel directly to the mission. And here I have the Escalation. I have again the sum up, and you see those tiers here at the bottom. What you're going to see is that we have a new thing, that is tier tokens. It's a new currency. So what happens is you actually need to spend those tokens to increase the tier of that escalation. I spend 1 token. If I succeed in that mission, I will gain 3 tokens. If I fail that mission, and failure is permanent, I will lose the token I put in here. So there is a risk reward here. So be careful not to exceed your ability and try to go too high in tiers. But as you unlock the tiers, it's going to cost more. It's going to give you more tokens. We're going to boost the NPCs more and more. We're going to start unlocking mutators. And as you complete those tiers, you will unlock the following tiers all the way to the last one where the difficulty will be at the highest level.
If you press G, we can see some of the mutators there, because you can see there the icons, and this is the description of the mutators that we have. For example, we have Harvest there. It's very tiny for me to read, so I need to get my notes here. But yeah, we have Harvest, that is when dealing damage, this enemy regenerates armor and health by a percentage of your maximum armor. So we have enemies with different special, almost like hostile modifiers specifically for these escalation modes, right?
Exactly. You have some of them are global mutators. They will be applied to the whole thing. Some of them are bespoke enemy mutators applied to NPCs. So this will be applied again based on the tier that you're in. So here we're in tier 2. So you see those 2 mutators have a chance to be applied on NPCs when you're going to be playing that escalation. I've paid 3 tokens for it. I'm going to get 6 tokens for completion. So you always get your investment back plus some extra, enough to go into the next tier or to keep repeating that tier to get more tokens.
And it's very important to remember that, remind all of you that this version of the game that we're playing and we're showing right now is an internal build. So this is not the version that you're going to play tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, but Friday. And for example, this account has 999 tokens. This is not how we're going to start. You're going to start with way less, and you need to manage those tokens and the challenge, so you can keep. You're betting on yourself, on the quality of how well you're going to perform. Yeah. Right.
And I see there's a question here on is this season exclusive? No. This is a permanent feature that we're adding to the game. It's going to stay here. It is applied to missions, and difficulty and challenge is a whole thing that we want to look at the entire game. We're starting with missions, with escalation, and throughout the year we're going to be looking at how do we also address difficulty and challenges in other places as well.
Yeah, and before jumping on in the action to show how it looks, I feel that there's one person who asked one question that I lost in the middle of it, but I think it's super important, that it's what are the rewards, why someone should play this. And I feel that this is the perfect opportunity to introduce another new thing, right?
Glad you asked. What are the rewards? Obviously we are not going to do that and just have you found the same stuff all over again, right? So I'm gonna go back to the White House just so I don't get aggroed in the open world while I'm doing this. But we're going to go back to inventory. I said this would be a menu live stream. So our inventory live stream. So let me show you something that you've never seen before.
Ooh, this is mysterious.
Wow. In here, look at that baby. Let me introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to prototype gear. And prototype gear, what is it? It's a new quality layer added to the items. This applies to high-end items and gear set items. They can now exist in prototype version. And what prototype means, it means 2 things. It means higher stats, higher rolls, and a whole new thing that we're calling augment. Augment is a new modifier that is applied to your item. It rolls randomly when you drop a prototype. There's a set of augments. So a bit like talents, but they come on top of talents, so they don't replace talents. And what you can see with those augments, the big difference with talents is that first they apply to every piece of gear. So every single piece of your gear can have an augment. And second, they are not situational like talents. Talents are like do a headshot and then 3 spin around, and then you're gonna get plus 5% damage. Here, these are usually passive abilities that are applied to your build. On top of that, augments level up. So the more you use the weapon, the more XP you gain into this weapon. You can upgrade this augment to gain in power. So that 1.5 refill chance is going to increase to something more and something more. And you can level it up the more you use it. And the last thing is that those augments also stack. So I have this augment paradox. If I have a second piece of prototype equipped that also has paradox, that bonus will be combined.
So we were wondering before the stream if we should start with this, and then based on your excitement in the chat, we noticed that this is something that you guys were very excited. So we on purpose decided to leave it for the end, because this changed a lot, right? We are giving a whole new layer
prototype Lexington
of power for players like the prototype Lexington. And now people will be wondering like, hey, how far I can go and how I can get those, right? And this is where Escalation comes, and also the whole system of how you can upgrade those prototype gears, because we are making sure that we're valuing your time on creating your perfect build.
Yes, exactly. So the whole thing is that prototype, you can also upgrade existing items into prototype quality. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it. So it's really about your time. So there's a couple of things I'm going to show you. More menus. Kudos to our UI team for all those menus they had to create for this season. They really worked their butts off, and it paid off. So thank you. Love you guys. So let me press M here to go into the Proto Lab. And the Proto Lab is basically where you can control your prototype item. You can re-roll your augment if you don't like it. So works a bit like a recalibration. You can basically re-roll the augment and get to pick. Let me try to do it. I re-rolled and I rolled a new one. I currently have this one. This is the new one that I rolled. I get to choose, do I want to keep the one I have? Do I want to pick the new one? Mind you, if you pick the new one, you will lose the progression. So it's really a question for you. Do you want to keep the one you have at the level you have it? Or do you want to go back from augment level 1, but an augment that you prefer? So you get to keep or change the augment. So that's number one thing you can reroll. Then the second thing that we mentioned is, yes, in the tinkering station, you now have access to the Proto Lab directly here. What Proto Lab shows you, it shows you two things. It shows you all the prototype items that you have and allows you to upgrade them. So I don't know if to have one that is, here I can level up the augment, for example. So you see it's 1.5. I'm going to level up the augment. Congratulations, now it's a plus 2% bonus on this augment. So 2% chance to refill your magazine. Yay. This will be added again with all the prototype items I have that have this augment. So you can level it up to 10, I believe, is the maximum. There's a cost. There's a new currency that we're bringing in here, of course, that goes with that. And then the other thing, as we said, is you can upgrade items. So, for example, I have this striker piece here. So there's a couple conditions for this. You need the item to be expertise 30, and you need it to be max rolled. So you need to optimize the weapon or the item to the maximum. Once it is at the maximum, or it can be just directly a gold roll, you don't have to use optimization, but anyway, once it's at the maximum and expertise maximum, you can upgrade it to prototype. So if I take this piece and I say upgrade, I now got a prototype striker glove, which mathematically is always better. So you're not losing by upgrading, because those stats are always going to be better than the previous stats that you had. So you're going to see that you're not losing, and your expertise bonus remains applied to the item. So this is
in this case we could upgrade all those prototypes that are there, right?
Yes. So you can upgrade everything. And so you can upgrade everything, and you can start having fun building your prototype builds. So Escalation, the new difficulty layer, is where you will be able to drop prototype items. Obviously, the higher you go in tiers in Escalation, the more chances you will have to get prototype items, and the better quality they will be, which means higher rolls as well. Because prototypes here, we probably don't see that because I think they're all maxed out, but in the game when you get them. They will not necessarily be maxed out. So there will be RNG again. Once again, the minimum value of a roll on a prototype is equal to what was the maximum value of it before it was prototype. So again, you will never have something that is worse than the high-end or gear set version of it. But you will need to play the RNG game in order to actually get the maxed out version. So it's a whole new grind available for all of you.
And some people ask about if prototype gear could be specialization weapons or exotics. I think that's important to mention what is eligible to be upgraded to prototype, right?
Yes, so it's high-end items, it's gear set items, it's named items are available for prototype. Not exotics, but yeah, all those items.
All right.
I see a bunch of reactions to expertise as well. Don't worry, this comes also with a sweet pass on expertise and all of that to make it easier and faster to max out your expertise.
I think this offers us another opportunity to show another quality of life update that we're bringing, because for now you've noticed it's been a menu stream. We've been spending a lot of time on this, and it's important to go through that because it's a very complex season with a lot of different new systems, and we know how you guys are gonna try to break it and try to make all the combinations. So to make sure that you have have your life easier to do that, we are bringing a new quality of life improvement that is the future for duplicate items, right?
So today in inventory management specialty, we bring you the best quality of life improvement ever, which is this show all button that is down there. So when I look at this striker piece here, for example, I can actually press the show all button. And what this does is it's going to show me every single copy of this item I have, whether it's in my inventory or in the stash. So when you have a piece of item, when you drop a piece of item and you're like, wait, do I have one in my stash? What were the rolls? I don't remember. You can on the spot, and that directly from the loot pile as well. You don't have to have it in inventory. You can directly compare and look at all the different copies you have from here. And from that screen, you can directly mark as junk, mark as favorite, move to inventory, do all of that directly from your inventory.
Perfection. That's the best feature of this update for me.
This is the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah, I see that people are celebrating.
I'm so excited about that.
All right, so that's basically it. What we had from prototype. I feel that this expressed a little bit how it's supposed to work, but obviously you need to try and see the augments, how you can upgrade them, the different types you can have. I feel that's going to be super, super fun. And obviously every season comes with new gear, so we are also introducing new gear to this season that can be, if they're eligible, like named items or brand sets and gear sets, they can be turned into prototype as well. So if you go to your loadouts, Yannick, we should have, yeah, the
What do you want to see? I want to see the new items.
I think we should start with the sets, the brand set and the down there.
This one?
Down there. Yeah.
This?
Yes, this is the Royal Works brand set, right?
Yeah.
I need to find my notes, but yeah.
So Royal Works, I have it here. Hopefully these are the proper values. Maybe they might not be final, so that's why it's probably good if you're looking at your notes. But yes, the new gear brand here, so will also be available in prototype. So plus 5% weapon handling, plus 32% magazine size, plus 15% crit hit damage are the bonuses for this.
Yes, we have the name chest piece robbing and the name chest backpack bulldog. If you go back there, you should see.
I have the bulldog here.
Yeah, the bulldog has a different
perfect
challenge. Yeah.
What else do you want me to?
And the backpack, yes. I have the perfect gunslinger is the chest. Exactly.
Is this one Robin?
Yes.
Perfect gunslinger.
We also have the core strength gear set. So if you go to your loadout, you can see there.
I have it.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I have it here.
Quicker. So yeah.
Core strength. Oh wait. Let me. Yes, I will equip it just so it's easier to read. Okay, so core strength. This is again playing around with stats and with core attributes and all of that. We said it would be a complicated season and a very deep RPG one. So yes, two-piece plus 10% weapon handling, 3-piece, plus 5% weapon damage, 5% total armor, 5% skill efficiency. 4-piece bonus for each core on your gear piece, receive 40% of the other 2 cores bonuses. Skill tiers count as 15% skill efficiency when these bonuses are applied. All pieces from the gear set, apart from the backpack, will feature random cores. So, have fun.
I feel that we can go to the exotic new items. We have the exotic. We have the exotic.
I have the mask right here. So.
Yeah, the mask could be investor. Yeah, that was the one that I was looking for in my notes.
Yes. So investor, what do we have here as a talent slotted? Receive bonuses for each non-core attribute on this item depending on their color. So you see I have those 3, I have 1 yellow and 2 blue. So here I'm gonna get plus 5% skill efficiency, plus 2% armor regen. This item can feature any core attribute. This item features a 3rd random attribute instead of having a gear mod slot. This item cannot feature the headshot damage, health, or skill repair attributes. So again, depending on the attributes you roll here, you will get different bonuses on top of those attributes. So once again, these are kind of like persistent stat boosting sets and items. It's a bit the same as this one. So it's really just about like prepare your build, max out your stats, and then just go rampage.
Yeah, I was going through my notes. There are so many things on this season that I had
What are the other
thousands of pages. Yeah, the next one is the Whiplash exotic pistol. This is not the final model of it.
The model is not right, yeah.
So we're going to update that with the new model. But yeah, the new pistol.
Having this weapon holstered for 5 seconds, reloads and primes it. While primed, swapping to this weapon reloads your primary and secondary weapons and grants plus 20% rate of fire, 50% weapon damage until its magazine is emptied. Reloading or swapping from this weapon before its magazine is emptied will remove its stat bonuses. So yeah, you holster it, you let it cook, and then you take it out and you destroy.
And the exotic assault rifle agitator. I saw that some people have noticed that before when you were showing your weapons.
Look at that beauty.
This one.
Agitator is also, perturb. It's also a prime mechanic. So while this weapon is holstered, generate 50% less threat when shooting. Keeping this weapon holstered for 10 seconds will prime it. While primed, swapping to this weapon grants plus 25% rate of fire, plus 30% weapon damage, and you generate 100% more threat when shooting for 15 seconds. So yeah, same. Holster it, play around with your other weapons for 10 seconds, then you take it out and destroy once again.
We're bringing also 2 new named weapons. The trader is up there, and I feel that what's relevant it's the talent that is also about swapping. It's called Perfect Back and Forth, or this is the perfect version of it.
Yes. So yeah, swapping to this weapon grants plus 13% rate of fire and 12% weapon damage for 10 seconds. Swapping from this weapon grants plus 5% rate of fire and 4.5% weapon damage for 10 seconds. Gonna have to drink a big glass of water after this stream.
Yeah,
a lot of inventory or menu reading.
Yeah, and I think that's basically everything we had for the new gear. Again, this will be available through PTS. The patch notes should come later tomorrow. You're going to have a lot of things to learn, a lot of things to explore, a lot of things to test. I'm wondering if the weekend is going to be enough for people to try everything that we're adding to it, because this is a lot of new content, especially for hardcore veterans. But we're super happy because we're rising up. We are raising the stakes, and the rise up is all about making it harder and more powerful for you guys who have been supporting us for so long. So I'm super excited to see what you guys think about this. Yeah. Anything special you like to highlight from this, Yannick, especially when it comes to feedback? Like anything you want to see from them?
Give us your feedback. No, I mean, so one thing I want to mention is, this is a first step into, for us, trying to sanitize the difficulty challenge and the power creep of the players. So for several years now we've been giving you a lot of power and not really been able to increase the challenge outside of some legendary missions and incursion and master difficulty. But it's always very bespoke things. We want a more systemic approach. So escalation is our first take on this. But this is really a first step into a new power level, but also difficulty that actually makes sense, and the game being able to always respond to that power. So go on the power chase, have fun, and get ready for a challenge and more challenges to come throughout year 8.
We are ending here, so thank you so much for your audience. Thank you, Yannick, for joining me, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you.